Maria, boa noite. É um prazer estar conversando com você e parabéns pelo Nobel. Eu vou seguir um pouco na pergunta das colegas, falando das Big Techs. No livro você trata muito disso e como que o algoritmo, né, e os algoritmos dessas plataformas contribuem para a profusão de fake news e como que isso, não só no caso das Filipinas e do Brasil, mas também dos Estados Unidos, por exemplo, contribuíram para o crescimento e até para a eleição de uma extrema-direita. Ao mesmo tempo, a gente vê no seu livro um pouco do debate dos desafios de se sustentar um meio de comunicação independente. E a gente vê essas mesmas Big Techs financiando, né, propondo financiamento para essa mídia, né, independente, com o argumento de que está fortalecendo a imprensa e a democracia. Como é que você vê isso no que diz respeito à qualidade dessa democracia e à autonomia né, dos repórteres, que são financiados por essas mesmas Big Techs que alimentam esses algoritmos?
Thank you for the question. Let me go over the two instances that we as in humanity are being manipulated, and then I'll talk about the impact on journalism. So the first thing is that these social media platforms, regardless, they're pretty much the same, and TikTok is the worst, right? It takes advantage of our emotions, our biology, manipulating us because our emotions are manipulated to change our worldview, to change the way we think. The platforms, these big tech companies, are designed for addiction, little bursts of dopamine, right? And these are in Facebook's own internal documents that were released, more than 10,000 of them released by Frances Haugen, the Facebook whistleblower. What that means is that the crisis we face is our own biology, the ability for our emotions to shift the way we think, and the way technology is doing this without our knowledge. So that's the first step. They're literally treating people all around the world like Pavlov's dogs. And what happens is when you say a lie a million times, it becomes a fact. You cannot tell the difference between fact and fiction. And a leader, a figure that lies, that's bombastic, that gives people in our countries freedom to be their worst selves, those tend to get the widest amplification, right? Lula won by just 1% there. You barely made it because our biology is used against us. So this algorithmic manipulation is micro-targeting, but it's also, as I pointed out earlier, the recommendation of what content to serve you, and that radicalizes you even more. The impact on our next generation, on kids, increased depression, increased instances of suicide. They live shallow lives, and this stops a search for meaning, for learning, right? Okay, so did I paint a horrific picture? This is what we're living in. What is the impact on journalists? These same platforms are used to target us. Patricia went through this. I am sure other women journalists and male journalists have gone through this. In the Philippines, women are targeted at least 10 times more than men. But what they do is, it's part of military doctrine in Russia. They pound a target, whether it's one journalist, they pound you with a lie to literally change the meta-narrative. In my case, the meta-narrative was, I used to be seen as a good journalist in the Philippines, but now in 2016, the Duterte administration and its supporters came out with journalist equals criminal. Maria is a criminal. They pounded that a million times. People began to believe the lie. And how do you, as a journalist, react to that? You can't. And then a year later, President Duterte said the same thing in his State of the Nation address. A week after that, we got our first subpoena. So you have the weaponization of social media followed by the weaponization of the law. How do we deal with this as journalists? We keep doing our jobs at tremendous risk to ourselves, to our organizations that are bleeding money. In the case, Patricia actually filed a case back, right, and won it. Let's see what happens in the Philippines. The fear has lifted. There is now with the verdict, kicking out 4 tax evasion cases that could have sent me to prison for 34 years, I again have hope, right?